I was looking through my videos to get some inspiration for ideas, and I noticed two things. The video on the lore covering the Occuria performed surprisingly well, and this particular comment. The interesting thing with this comment was that it was something that I had also considered while making the lore on the Occuria video. As that particular video was focused on the race as a whole, I did not go more into detail about each one specifically, only briefing about the role of the Occuria had in the world of Ivalice, as well as the relationship with each other and the races of the world. This time, we will be going further into one of the Occuria, perhaps the most interesting one of all, as it showed its own ambitions and visions for what it wanted Ivalice to look like. Venat went rogue on his fellow Occuria and decided to let the history of the world be written in the hands of man, instead of a predetermined fate drawn up by its own race. In order to achieve this, however, Venat aligned with the Arcadian Empire through Dr. Cid, who discovered Venat during his travels to Giravagan and turned him into the seemingly mad scientist who would often talk of himself while glancing over at someone who was not there. I believe this was a chance meeting, as Dr. Cid seemed to have been at the right place at the right time when Venat had these thoughts, which is why Venat directly opposed the party through the Arcadian Empire during the events of Final Fantasy XII. But this does not make Venat truly evil. Yes, Venat is an antagonist to the party because the party sought to bring down the wrath of the Arcadian Empire and the tyrannical and cunning Vayne Solador, while Venat sought to use the Empire to achieve its own goal of history being written by the humans themselves, and the influence of the Arcadian Empire and those who shared its goals would help with the progression of that ambition. When it comes to its actions, we have to consider one important factor: the nature of the Occuria. While it is unknown how long exactly Venat has had these thoughts, we do know that the Occuria do consider themselves gods of the world, and have had influence on the timeline of events that have occurred in Ivalice's time, and that it has become their prime nature to be indirectly manipulative and controlling, something that is very similar to Vayne's nature behind his actions during Final Fantasy XII. The main difference with Venat is that it involved itself in a higher degree in that it directly chose a human to accompany, and would spread its vision and goal through him, which would cause a domino effect that would eventually reach the highest seat of Arcades when Vayne took over the position by murdering his father and older siblings, despite the latter being done at the behest of his father. Now, despite this, Vayne used this as a sort of endorsement from the Occuria and fueled his campaign by taking over neighboring smaller kingdoms to grow his own in his impending war with its neighboring power of Rosaria. It was never stated that Venat had told him to do this, but when you're told by a godlike being that you are free to write history as how you see fit, it is up to the receiver of that message on what they choose to do with said freedom and information. We also see more of a personal relationship develop between Venat, Vayne, and Dr. Cid, as opposed to a relationship just simply of manipulation and control. As we see after Dr. Cid's death, Venat had nearly mourned for his passing and had said that Dr. Cid was a dear friend to it. We also see Venat come to the aid of both its Arcadian friends on dire need, such as coming to the aid of Vayne when he was about to be struck down by Vaan, allowing the former to escape and transform into the Undying using the power of Venat and the metallic debris from Bahamut. So all in all, to determine whether Venat was evil, and really to determine if any character is evil, is based on morality, and what one believes is evil or not. While yes, Venat did serve as a bit of a driving force to the actions of the Arcadian Empire during the events of Final Fantasy XII, it was ultimately Vayne and his allies in the Empire who acted upon it and caused the chaos and destruction that we see. With that into account, I do not believe that Venat is truly evil, but rather it had good intentions behind its desertion of the Occuria. Unfortunately, Venat was just surrounded by manipulative, controlling, and destructive environments between its fellow Occurians and Arcades. And those are my thoughts on whether or not Venat was truly evil. This was an interesting one and one of the videos where I had to think, as I had to consider all the factors that would help me answer this question. Let me know for those who are Final Fantasy XII fans whether or not you think Venat is truly evil in nature. Also, thanks for the great support on the Occuria video. When I saw it reach 1.8k views, I was really surprised and glad that the video did well, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you wish to see more, please leave a like on this video and consider subscribing to the channel. We are nearly at 1,000 subscribers. Other than that, this is Enzo signing out, and I will see you all soon.